yes, and yes indeed. We actually have a car running around the track. And yes, of course, it's the GTE. To be fair, the stock Camaro, the maroon one, also went around. All the rest of the cars had issues, especially the Porsche. The Porsche and the Vet both seem very slippery on the track. So tires are definitely going to be a thing for me. Because even on this very simple track, it's not in the slot. That will do it. But as usual, yeah, the GTE to the rescue. When everything else refuses to make it around the circle, even a very simple circle like this. A whisper smooth like butter. So I just threw this together this morning just to run the cars and have fun. I don't think this is going to be my test track. I guess it could be, but it's so small. And once again, this is a 4 foot by 4 foot table. So why I could only get a few pieces of track on a 4 foot table, I don't know. And the GTE, once again, I've never taken off the body. I haven't unscrewed it. So it has the stock magnets in it. And you can see when it takes this curve, how far out it slides. See that? It fishtails out sometimes enough to deslot, even though I have the lead in there. So, but by far, it runs the best on this track. I just have to let up the throttle a little bit around that corner. Yeah, deslot it again. And it could be, it was me too fast on the trigger. It could be that the tires are dirty because I did run it on the old track. Yeah, oh yeah. Look at that. Just by running 3 or 4 laps on this track and running it on the old track because it was the only car besides the maroon Camaro that would make it around the track repeatedly, smoothly. You see the upside down car. That means I try to run it and it wouldn't run, so it has to go over to the workbench to examine. But I actually went down the row. I started in the back with the Castrol and went up, and even the Toyota. And once again, those cars, those supercars, they run like steak, man. Those are so quick when they do go. But because the magnets are so strong, I've got to squeeze the controller all the way down, give it 100% power. I do have the power control at 15 volts. I don't want to, it's such a small track, I don't want to overpower it like I did with the big tracks at 30 volts. So I turned it down to 15 volts just to make sure everything would run okay. And when it goes, the Philly Flyer, the copper Porsche, and the red Toyota go like stink. I mean, they go way faster than the GTE or the Nighthawk. But it takes full power. And then of course, as soon as I make that curve and go into the inside of the hairpin, it loses it because you can't take a hairpin inside or outside at full throttle. But I need to go full throttle to get it started from here to go around the curve. But yeah, just pulled away the table a little bit, right? The desk. This was a desk with a 4x4 board exactly like that. That was the other one I was telling you about that I had. It's going to go basically where the fan is. And I just threw together something similar to what you get in a set. If you look at the boxes, I mean, that's sort of the layout you get when you buy a beginner set. Two controllers, 2 cars, and 1 transformer. I might plug in that Scale Electrics one instead of my PSU aftermarket to see how all the cars run on that. Now that I have a complete circuit track, whatever, I can do some more testing, and that includes my power supply unit, because I've been having some funky problems with it, obviously on the big track. And now by taking out the big track, I eliminate that from the equation, and I can see if this is giving me reliable, clean, solid power. which is the whole reason I bought the aftermarket PSU in the first place. More amps, 10 amps as opposed to 1.5 the stock ones have, but also supposed to be regulated, and you can fine tune it. There's an adjustment here where you can fine tune the volts or coarse, remember the coarse and fine? You can turn it all the way down and all the way up. And then this is the fine adjustment where you can dial it in to right around 15 or a little bit under 15. And same thing with the amps. You can dial in the amps. I have it turned all the way up. So yeah, you can see I have some cars that are turned into turtles on their backs because they wouldn't run on the track, and 15 volts. All the rest of the cars ran to different degrees, but I think the next thing I have to look at is braids. I have to check the braids on every single car, and when they're mangled and dirty like that, well, that's probably part of the problem. The braids are just too nasty. I did get a package yesterday. I didn't bother doing an unboxing because it was a pretty simple item. I just got some lighter fluid, which a lot of guys use to clean tires, and a lot of guys use to clean the braids. So got my lighter fluid in yesterday. I'll probably mess around with that today, cleaning the braids, brushes, braids. Different people call them different stuff. Back in the HO days, we called them pickups. They were solid metal instead of a braid. I guess that's why they call these braids, because they're more of a weave. But the old HO cars were solid pieces of metal that rode on the rails and picked up the electric. But yeah, the Porsche and the Vet both slide out extremely easy. Every curve you see, I mean, the GTE swung out and, was like a drift car in this corner, but the Porsche was sliding out, and I'm at like a third throttle. But as I give it more throttle here, it will slide out off of this curve, and the Vet the same way. So after I check out the brushes, I need to look at tires. And once again, I wanted to do baselines and see how fast the cars were on their own before I changed anything. But yeah, I think my next order will be from like Slot Car Corner. If he doesn't ship to Thailand, I'll have him ship to my buddy Jeff, and then Jeff can ship to me. Yeah, double shipping, but it is what it is. Like I said, there's no place for me to buy tires that I know of in Thailand. Usually, if we don't have something in Bangkok, in Chiang Mai, I can get it in Bangkok, the capital, right? Bangkok's like New York City. You can get anything in New York City. You can get anything in Bangkok usually, but I could not online. I'll look again. I couldn't find a store that sells slot car, 1/32 scale slot car accessories. I will search. I will search again to see. I mean, there's got to be someplace in Bangkok, but if not, I had to order from Australia or the UK, get tires, and because I think everybody needs tires pretty much. And once again, Jeff hooked me up with some Paul Gage tires I have over here in my toolbox for the GTE and for the Toyota and the Philly Flyer, those three cars, the two slotted cars and the one kind of Scalextric supercar. But I think everyone needs tires. A couple of the cars I put on the track, like this Lola, it's a Fly, made by Fly as opposed to Scalextrics. This literally went, you can see the tires, they're really bad. And it literally just spun the wheels. It did a burnout and didn't move around the track. So that's obviously needs tires. The Porsche, I would say, needs tires because it slides very easily. The Corvette needs tires. It slides very easily. Yeah, you can see them. You can see that they're supposed to have treads on them. You can see there's a little pattern, but it slides much easier than the maroon Camaro, and slides much easier left and right. It's a drift car, and it's not supposed to be a drift car. So yeah, the back end swings out a lot more than the Nighthawk, than the GTE, than any car, except for maybe the Porsche. The Porsche might even be worse. But anyway, I'm running cars again. I'm happy camper. As far as the big track, I'm still waiting on the distribution block. When that's going to get here, the little terminal that goes in the middle and all the wires run to and from. Why that's taking 2 to 3 times longer than the other stuff? Hey, when you order from China, it's, it is what it is. It's touch and go. So that will be here, but I just have to be patient and wait. And I have that big box coming from Action Slots, which I'll do a video, biggest unboxing to date. Very excited about that box. And I also have another order, so I had the small order come with the rail cleaner and the borders for the hairpins, which I'm using here on this track. I went ahead and stole the borders from over there, so I would have borders around every curve, because you need that to run, full out. And it's such a small track, I really can't get a lot of speed up, but you can still see the cars swinging out. So I had to put this in because the Camaro, the first car I ran, was the, second car I ran. I ran the Jaguar, and then I ran the Camaro. And the Camaro actually came off the track right here and hit the ground. So I went ahead and grabbed that from the big layout. Trying to keep everybody on the track. Now, it's small, but it's effective. If I was more motivated right now, I would have a quarter straight right here, because you can see these are contacting. This is sitting on top of that. So, a little interference problem because it's too close together, those two curves. So ideally, and I have space, I could put a quarter in there and a quarter over there to compensate. But yeah, whatever. I might still do that. I still got plenty of track, obviously. But yeah, I'm waiting on the big box that has the lap counter, the electronic lap counter. I definitely want to put in. And I'm still playing with some ideas. I'm not quite sure. I kind of laid it out like it was, and I even connected this over here to work, and then have the S-curves that I like so much all the way down to the straight there. I was playing with some ideas on how to tie in the hairpins. I made that work. I figured out how to come out of there. I had an S-curve here coming out of the bank, coming out of here. I had the S-curve so that it would go to one of the hairpins down there. But I'm not 100% sold on the two hairpins together on the big board. I might wind up using them over here on one of the two small tables. So we'll see. We'll see what I wind up doing. I got some time. I'm waiting for the packages, waiting for the distribution block to get clean power to the whole track. And meanwhile, the small track will let me shake down the cars. Like I said, I found a couple that need repairs. I'll work on them on the bench and see what I can fix, see what's wrong. Some are making some gear noise, a lot of clatter, interference with the gear, or something's loose, something's not tight. The rear wheel on the white Camaro came off, so I had to so Scalextrics, they just have like a little knurled knob on the axle, and I probably have to super glue that on. The other thing I have coming in the big order is some spare parts, and one of the spare parts is a rear axle. So I might have to replace the front axle. And I remember one of the cars, I think it might be the Bulldog car, the front axle was actually warped. So I might wind up replacing that with the Scalextrics, or just once again, I got some spare parts coming in the big order, which is cool. It's always good to have spare parts in your toolbox. replace various things that are broken, body parts and axles, gears, etc. I got some bearings coming, things like that. So really excited to get that order. Can't wait till it comes. I'll do a big unboxing and show you all what goodies I got. It's my biggest order to date. And I'll either that video or a separate one, I'll talk about the investment into this hobby and the different range of what's it cost to get into the hobby. And, you know, if you're a nut job like me and keep buying cars, even though you got 20 friggin' cars, well, it's going to cost more, but that's, you know, personal decision. Everybody has different budgets. Everybody has different wants and needs. So I'll go over what I put into the hobby when the big box comes, because obviously it was a substantial investment for all the stuff I got coming. So you know, obviously I'll talk about the cash, like what I've laid out to get this far so far. But today's news is I'm running cars again, and yeah, a lot of them wouldn't make it without assistance. Like I said, I put good track down. I sorted through the track and put it into good pile, bad pile, and I took these two pieces from the good pile. You can see they have really nice rails. They don't have marks. These are pieces of track from Jeff's set, which overall is in much better shape than the set. You can tell the difference with the power base that came in the set, and right next to it is two pieces of track from Jeff, and you can just see the difference and cleanliness and no pitting on the rails. So I shouldn't be having power issues. These are good, clean pieces of track. So I really need to, like I said, mess around with it, unplug the PSU, try the stock transformer, just keep playing with it until I can figure out why every car doesn't just run around the track, you know, on its own without any assistance. Even the Nighthawk had trouble getting around this track. So yeah, I'll fix, make better. So that's it for today. I try to keep this one short. My official theme song is Ramble On by Led Zeppelin, right? Because that's what I do. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys some cars running around a very simple, small, set-like track. And this will give me the opportunity to do some testing and tuning, including with the power supply, which is something that needs to be tested and tuned also, apparently. I mean, I got this thing from China, so who knows if it's even working properly. That's why I like the small track, because I can do A/B testing. So, all right, guys, have a great day.